Thank you for tuning in to Gloves Off Seattle. Your hosts, Patti and Meagan, will be talking about all things Seattle women's hockey. A huge Pacific Northwest welcome to the PWHL. Gloves Off Seattle! Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.
Gloves Off Seattle?
Gloves Off Seattle.
We're already starting fast.
You told me to go fast.
Okay, so that's going to be the joke of the evening, guys. We are recording this. It's Thursday night, and we're going to put this out on Friday morning. And we want to get as much information as we can out to everybody. But we also are like, we know that having a big, long episode in the middle of the week is a lot. But also, like, we have families and kids and all kinds of stuff.
And my wife has to edit this tonight before we go to bed.
Yes, yes. So I think the biggest thing, as it is Thursday night, we now know who the Torrent protected. I think that there's lots of conversations we could have about the other teams. I think Avery even asked us, like, are we going to talk about the other teams? And I was like, maybe in a peripheral way, but not like, I think what we want to focus on is the Torrent, because I think that's, fans of our show listen for that piece of knowledge. So as of right now, what we know is Alex Carpenter got signed to a 3-year deal, so she is protected. And then because Hannah Murphy and Anna Wilgren were both already under contract, the team just opted to protect them, like put them in a protected status. And I actually was wrong, because I was telling everybody Hannah Murphy had a 2-year contract. She actually has a 3-year. No, she has a 3-year contract.
If she
so she's got 2.
She was on a 1-year.
No.
No, she was on a 2.
No, it said so. Okay, somebody said 3.
She was on a 2, but then it was a year's gone by, so now it's 1 year left on
yes.
the deal.
Okay, so I don't mean to call anybody out, but I was reading Heather's article today, and she said that Hannah was on a 3-year. So if I am misquoting her or that was misquoted, my apologies. But like I was, because I thought that Hannah Murphy was on a standard 2-year contract too, but then I read Heather's article and I was like, oh, maybe she's not. So anyway, not trying to call anybody out. It doesn't really matter. Anna Wilgren and Hannah Murphy both were under contract. So we used I don't even know what they're calling it. Put them into a protected status. So the 3 players we are protecting: Alex Carpenter, Anna Wilgren, and Hannah Murphy. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Totally deserved by Carpy. I mean, come on, face off, the leadership that, in the vacuum of the Olympics, even though she went to the Olympics.
Yeah, she played in the Olympics too.
Afterwards, just totally deserved, and I'm celebrating it.
And I know that after the season was over, our coach that we have said farewell to, Steve O'Rourke, said that she really became.
We're gonna salute every time we say
salute
Steve now.
Salute Steve. That she really became a leader in Hilary's absence due to injury after the Olympics. Not that she wasn't a leader before that, but I think she said that he was saying that she took it to another level. And then also this morning in the media availability with Megan Turner, she was lauding Carpenter as one of the league's best 2-way forwards or 2-way centers.
Best in the world.
Yeah, and I agree with that. We can look at her offensive productivity, which you have referred to as Carpy points. So it was very hard. It was very difficult last year for the Torrent to get any kind of wins without Carpy points. But also, we should not, and the face-offs, of course, that Patti mentioned, but we shouldn't forget her back checking and her defensive responsibility. She is an all-around player, and I am beyond relieved that she was protected, because she's kind of the key to all this.
Well, and we said that in the group chat too, Brian. Like, you said it and I felt it. Like, I felt like I could sigh relief knowing that, like, Carpy was signed, because I was like, okay, well, like, we have somebody who's very central to the team. We know they're going to be here next year. We don't have to worry about that fact anymore. So we'll move on to, who didn't get protected later. But like right now, we're going to talk about the 3 that got protected. So I think there's no hesitation from any of us on Carpy was the right choice. Makes total sense. I'm hoping she signed a lucrative 3-year deal for herself, and she's going to be a central part of this team for the next 3 years. So that's pretty exciting.
I hope so too, that she got paid, because she totally deserves it. And I think the 3-year deal definitely puts her in the present. Like she is our the future of this season and the next two seasons. And I look at that as the here and now. Carpy is the here and now, even though who knows what happens after 3 years. But Wilgren and Murphy are our future. That's
Right.
where I see it.
So I was just gonna say really quick, I want to talk about Hannah Murphy and Anna Wilgren. It got leaked a little early before the team actually announced that there was that this is what the rumor was that we were gonna protect these three. Obviously, we already knew about Carpy because of the signing, but we didn't know about Hannah Murphy and Anna Wilgren. And so uh I anyway, Brian, initial reactions when you saw it leaked or when you saw it announced, either one, both.
Well, there were two things to be. I wasn't surprised that a goaltender was protected. That wasn't necessarily what the last time we talked. I was talking about, hopefully, one of the two goaltenders would slip through phase two. We can protect them later. Looking at what the other teams did with all of the other teams except for one protecting at least one goaltender, that kind of moves that danger zone down, right? The more goaltenders that are protected, the more your goaltender is at risk for being taken. So I'm not surprised that a goaltender was protected. I was a little bit surprised that it was Murphy instead of Schroeder. I think Schroeder is, the more well-rounded goaltender right now. This seems to be a selection with next year in mind because Murphy is very good right now, but potentially with the future in mind as well, more than a shorter production would be. And I know that in the media availability, Turner did, mention how important goaltending is to teams, that all of the championship contending teams have an elite goaltender, and clearly she sees Hannah Murphy in that category as well.
Yeah.
As for Anna Wilgren, that was more surprising. I was kind of expecting a goaltender might be protected, as some of the rumors of other goaltender protections came out, but we have a lot of high octane forwards on this team on pretty good contracts. Hannah Bilka and Danielle Serdachny come to mind, or possibly trying to get Julia Gosling signed. These are all very elite forwards, and
Right.
I think again we're looking at potential. Megan Turner talked a lot about Wilgren's potential this morning, not simply how she's playing now, but also her potential for the future. I think we saw a little bit of that at the end of this season. Again, salute to Steve. Steve had mentioned that at the start of the season, she was kind of trying to make that Team USA and maybe playing a little bit more of a role. And then later on in the season, after she didn't make that team, she kind of tried to be more herself. And
it showed.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because my dad pointed this out, which is hilarious because my dad never been a hockey fan before in his life, but now he knows everything about hockey because this is my father. Was pointing out that also like she's a little bit of what did he call her? Like a I want to say bruiser, but that's not what he said. Like, she spent some minutes in the penalty box, and like she's not afraid to make the hits. And so he was actually even calling her out for that. And so
shootout goals? I mean,
I just think I think she's a very well-rounded defender, and she's also very young. So that's what the thing I wanted to say about Hannah Murphy. I think people forget, and I want to remind everybody, she's only 22. So we were looking at like Gwen Phillips and Aaron Frankel, and I was like, oh, I just wonder what the age difference is because I know they're a little younger, but they're not young. So I'm like, how old are they? So Gwen Phillips is 26, Aaron Frankel's 27. So I think in my mind, I'm like, what is Hannah Murphy going to be playing like in 5 years? Like she is going to be incredible in 5 years, having all this professional experience, right? She's had one professional season so far, and we've already seen improvement. What is she going to look like in another 5 years, comparatively? Because like Gwen Phillips, Aaron Frankel, they've only had 3 years, or yeah, I guess 3 years in this professional league now. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. She's not close to her prime yet. Goalies also, it's hard to look at the NHL and sort of translate things over to the PWHL. The development path is so different, but
Yeah.
typically goaltenders in the NHL don't really start hitting their prime until their mid to late 20s. It's
Okay.
very rare that a goaltender will come out in their early 20s and really, set the world on fire and then be able to follow it up with another year where they set the world on fire. That consistency tends to come a little bit later in the 20s. So I don't know. I guess we can be on, now that we have a full women's hockey, professional development track, we can kind of like take a look to see where that aligns and where it doesn't. Hopefully, with Murphy, I hope that it's sooner rather than later. Uh,
Sure.
but yeah, I think certainly she has room for improvement.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about Wilgren or Murphy?
No, I just, like I said, that's our future,
Yeah.
and I think Meg sees that and really just went with that. So I totally agree.
And also the physicality. That was an important thing. That was something that was really a point of.
So I just want to say I wasn't on the media availability this morning, but both Brian and Patti were. And it was funny because the first thing that Patti said when she got off, what it was the word that she kept using?
Uh, punishment,
Punishment.
punishing,
Punishing.
punishment.
Punishing. So that was the word that Meg kept using. And again, I'm this is secondhand knowledge, but you guys can back me up on this. You were both there. Is that the word that she kept using about the way she wants us to play is punishing. And that kind of blew my mind based on like what we did last year. Cause I'm like, we were definitely not a punishing team last year, right?
No, I think at the very start of the season, Turner did talk about wanting a physical team, but
Fast, physical, and there was like three, there was
direct.
yeah,
That may have been more of a
maybe.
Steve thing, but
Yeah, maybe.
the direct part.
Yeah.
But the physicality was definitely something that she brought up. It's interesting though, like in the draft, the first three forwards drafted, Buglioni and Delianidis and Habish, all definitely like tough cookies, kind of bulldogs, but not big. Like I wouldn't describe, Jenna
No.
Buglioni or Lily
Nope.
Delianidis as punishing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see if the personnel matches with the rhetoric a little bit
Vocabulary.
more
Yeah.
in this draft and signing season. We did get
Yeah.
some big players last offseason, but also, some a mix of smaller ones as well. Turner's been talking a lot about Boston lately, about how they play physically, about how they play structured, and um, looking at their draft from last season, they definitely took some larger players, not just physical, but able to impose their will and not be pushed around. And
Yeah.
I wonder if that's sort of serving as a template, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And so I think the next thing that I want to talk about is what is, I think, on everybody's minds after learning what our protections were, which is why wasn't Hillary protected? I mean,
Oh.
I think all three of us have opinions about this, so I think we should all get a chance to chime in. But I mean, because that's the thing is everybody's like, and I'm just gonna go there because I think one of the things that I saw from a lot of the comments from the video that we put out from Meg Turner's media availability about the conversation she had with Hillary is like people putting Hillary into a victim status of like, oh, poor pitiful Hillary, and I'm like, no, no, no. Like I'm like Hillary is not a victim in this at all. Number one, this is professional athletes. Like they know what they're getting into. Sometimes they get passed over for whatever reason, this, that, and the other.
It's a business too.
It is a business. But my argument is that I don't know that she's not on board with the plan. Like I don't know that that's not what's going on now. I don't know that there's not there was a there's a slim percentage that she may get swept up in this expansion process that we may lose her, but it's such a slim percentage that it was a calculated risk that they were both Hillary and Turner were willing to take and say it makes more sense to protect our future,
Yeah.
right? Because we assuredly probably would have lost Hannah. I mean, I think she would have
Yeah.
gone no
I don't know
problem.
about Wilgren. That's a
Me,
little
yeah,
trickier. I did some
agreed.
research into that. That's a little iffier, but there was a potential. I kind of looked at who's available on defense, and just sort of assuming that each expansion team will want to come out of that phase 2 with at least 2 defenders, possibly 3. She is in the danger zone. She's not a slam dunk selection in phase 2, Wilgren. But particularly if some of those other phase 2 players who are on contracts are a little bit obstinate about leaving their current location, or if any of the expansion teams really load up on defense and take 3 defenders, she could be in the danger zone. It is a little bit timid, maybe cowardly. No, I'm trying to find the adjective.
I think timid is the one that Ava used when she was describing. Well, timid is the one that Ava used when she was describing the Montreal protection. Yeah. So I will say that's probably a good word to use.
Yeah, or you could say it's timid. You could say it's responsible. You could say it's cautious.
Cautious. That's a good one. I like
cautious, maybe.
Like and on the cautious note, I just want to say that we're halfway through our half an hour today.
Okay.
So I'm just giving us a time frame here.
Yes,
I think we're doing well because we're to Hilary.
Oh my God,
halfway point.
Patty's for
I need
real
to get a little time. So we need to get. So when we're talking about danger zones, right? We're gonna be talking about Hilary's.
We need to talk about that in Hilary. Yeah, and
Hilary's danger zone,
and why we don't think Hilary was made a priority for protection.
So there's 4 expansion teams, and each of them can really only force 1 player each to come to them with these EFOs, these expansion foundation offers, right?
Yeah, so I just want people to understand that there is only 1 offer that a player is forced to accept, and there is a caveat to that, because if we have to go there's a potential that there might be a draft situation if they don't get enough players with these offers that are going to be made. But in the second round that's coming up this weekend, this EFO offer that Brian's talking about is the only offer that a player is required to accept. And even if they get more than 1, so we were like, what if they get 2? They have to choose one of the 2. They have no option. They have to. Okay, go ahead.
They have to go. And also Hilary is exempt from that mini draft because she's not signed. That's only
I didn't even think about that.
Okay. So the EFO is.
So there's really just there's 4 chances to get her with no argument. And
here's the thing: the EFO is an offer where you offer 100,000 or what the player made previously.
If it's more than that,
right?
If it's more than that, Hilary made 106,000, so her EFO would be at 106 or higher, right?
Yeah.
They can offer higher, but there are more. Ava did a good video talking about her preferred EFO targets. There's a good list of players. I think if teams had multiple EFOs, they would take Hilary Knight in a heartbeat. She's worth 106, but the thing is that there are other players like Daryl Watts, or Grace Zumwinkle,
Abby Rock.
Jesse Eldridge, there's other, Lee Steckline, there's a whole, if you want to go defensive, right? There's a whole slew of players ahead of her in line for those EFOs. Now, the one exception, the one exception is if there's a GM out there who decides that their long-term plan is, I just want to build a huge fan base in year 1. I want to get a lot of people in the door. I want to create a great in-arena environment by bringing in the biggest star in women's hockey, at least in the United States.
Yes.
And then parlay that atmosphere into being attractive to future free agents. If the GM got really galaxy brained about it like that, that's the path for putting Hilary Knight a few notches up in the queue. And taking her with an EFO. So it's not impossible, but I think that's the type of thinking the GM would have to do that. And so we just have to hope that they're really focused on pure on-ice performance, getting a younger player that is going to be sticking with them for a while.
Right.
And if that's the case, then there's more than 4 players. Not many more than 4 players, but...
Okay, but here's the question, Brian. Why didn't Meg protect Hilary? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that again, that caution about not wanting to have your defense ripped apart. Imagine what this team would look like if both Kayla Barnes and Anna Wilgren both received offers,
Right.
and Aneta Teralova is a UFA and probably leaving. You might try to re-sign her, but you're not left with very much on the back end in that case.
Right.
Even if
And
even if you're able to draft second and get a Layla Edwards, which we don't know yet, that's
Right.
you're still kind of on one elite defender at that point. This is a
Right.
league where you really want to have more than that, especially when you talk about, she talks about, Turner talks about the Torrent adopting more of a Boston-like style, which is more structured and defensive. And, who do they have back there? They've got, Haley Wynn, and they've got Megan Keller, right? Like,
Right.
you can't play that style without the personnel to do it. And
Right.
so,
okay.
Well, and that's something that we've talked a lot about is that if whatever the system is that you're setting up, you have to have the right people in place. And if you don't have the right people in place, like this is something I'm very much learning about hockey, that it really isn't like about good players and bad players and whatever. It's about making sure you have the right players for the system you're choosing to use. And if you don't have that, then it generally doesn't work so well.
And the right
especially
coach
on
to lead those
defense.
players.
Right. Yeah. 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 Which is
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot more about. So
Okay, babe. Why did Meg Timmer
oh, she's
not
so
protect
funny. She just
Hilary?
wants me to say it because Hilary Knight is younger than I am. So when I say this with all the love in the world. I think that it is a calculated risk that Meg took because another GM it is very short-sighted for them to pick up Hilary Knight because she does not have that many years left of playing. You just want me to say she's old.
I didn't say that.
Well, and Hillary also, this is the other side of it, is that Hillary did promise 17,000 fans in Climate Pledge Arena
Yes.
that she was going to be around to build a team for 2 years. So if she's not forcibly moved, if another team offers her like an FPO, which is a different kind of offer that players can say no to,
Right.
to come to their expansion team, and she says yes, I mean,
Then there's going to be a PR nightmare. So
But go ahead.
I was going to say the only way that she goes without people literally like rioting in the streets is if she gets the EFO. So there's
Yeah.
two kinds of there's more than two kinds of contracts, but the two kinds of contracts we're concerned about in this next round is the EFO, which is one for each team
Cannot
is not
refuse.
refusable, and then I don't think for the other kind of contract is there a limit of how many? Is it
there's
two?
four, so it's like you get
Oh,
the
four per
expansion teams
team.
are coming out of that process
Five players.
with 5 players. They can
Right.
also offer not EFOs or FPOs. They can offer
FPOs,
just
yeah.
standard raises to players already under contract. There isn't an acronym for that, but our friends at Primary Tenant podcast invented an acronym for that so that we can remember that that's possible. They call it the ECR, the expansion contract renegotiation.
Yeah. So basically if any other besides the EFO, any other kind of contract that Hillary would get get offered,
Non-binding.
is non-binding. And with the FPO, which is something that people should know because this is coming up in the next round, with the FPO, we would have to offer her more money. So like, right? Is it or is it at least 90%?
No. So the way the FPO works is that Hillary Knight might receive an FPO, right? And the way that works is there's a baseline number for the FPO. It comes with some bonuses, some guaranteed money for signing multi-year, all things that you can say no to. If that's offered tonight and Knight says no, then we have to sign her in phase 3 and use a protection on her. So she would have to use up one of the team's precious 6 protection slots,
right?
And it would be signing at least 90% of the FPO baseline value, which is 80,000. So I think it's like 76,000 or something like that.
Which would be a huge pay reduction for her, and I cannot imagine that happening. Again, and maybe it's just me because this is how I think. I think Meg Turner and Hilary Knight are 2 steps ahead of all of this, and that nothing is going to come as a huge shock or surprise to them. And I bet that they have a plan A, a plan B, a plan, double Z. I don't know. Like I'm just saying. Like I think that I don't think that this is. I don't think anybody's going into this blind. And I felt this way last year because people again were like, "Oh my gosh, she was unprotected last year." I was like, "Guys, she chose to be unprotected last year so she could come to Seattle. Like that was not, it was no
That's what she
shun.
wanted.
There was no shun to Hilary Knight. She wanted to come to Seattle. She said
Yeah.
it. She's all but said, I didn't want to stay in Boston. I wanted to come to Seattle. So there was no shunning of her. It was just giving her what she wanted. And
And
it, oh, go ahead.
just I think that everyone knows she wants to stay here too.
Yeah.
So why pick up somebody that you know does not
That's
want to come to your city, that is not going to be happy there? And I think she has the clout to back that, to just say, this is what I want. And why would you go against I? And I mean, I know it's a business, but I know that there is that clout there, and that
well, and
she
she's a
wants to do
leader.
it. So
She
She's
is a
gonna be
pro
a
though.
leader. She's gonna be a leader no matter where she goes. And so why would you want to bring somebody in who you then have to work to win over? Like I
Yeah.
just as somebody who works in like middle management, I'm like, I want to bring somebody over that wants to come, who's gonna be excited to be there, not somebody who I'm gonna have to like win over and then turn, I don't know. She is
yeah,
a pro. She's a pro. I
she
She's
agree.
is
a
a pro.
pro though. Like I could see if they did bring her over, she gets to decide the term. That's the other complicating factor her here on the EFO. They can't just say we want you for 4 years or 2 years or three or one. Uh,
Right.
she the EFO target gets to determine the length of the contract. So they might only get her for, she might say, oh, well, I'll sign here for 1 year and wave the
Retire.
BWHL flag and boost your ticket sales in your inaugural year and guide your young players and be a pro about it. Um,
Right.
and then come back to Seattle after a year because she gets to say, I don't want to be there for 1 2. Or the other risk is, she's older now. If you give her the EFO, there's always the risk that she's like, okay, so
Wow.
I'll sign for 4, and you don't
Yeah.
want her for 4.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
going to
Right.
be 40 or something at that
Yeah,
point,
Yeah.
you
because she's
know.
30, she's almost 37. So,
Speaking of
So,
four,
oh my
we
gosh,
have
stop.
4 minutes
No, we
left.
do not. There's no way we started at like 23 after.
21. We started at 21.
Okay.
51 is half an hour.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize Patty was going to be this much of a Nazi about the time. Um, so I think that we need to talk about what's upcoming for the next. So we're done with the phase one because all the protection lists are in. They've been they've been leaked. They've been
They've been
published. So
published.
we know all of the GMs had media availability today. A lot of Kyle Cushman put out clips of every single team. There's some other accounts that have put out clips of every single team. Again, we're just focusing on the Torrent because we only have 30 minutes. And then so tomorrow, June 5th, which is Friday, and the day this is going to come out, they start phase two. So phase two is where, like Brian said, the 4 expansion teams now start gobbling up their players, and the goal at the end of this, it's through the 8th, so it's through Monday,
5 through 8.
is for them to have 5 players signed. And so 5 players signed, let me math this out. So 5 players signed is 20 players, and we can only lose 4 each. Is that right? Each team can only lose 4,
4 total, not just 4 in phase 2, right?
but that doesn't math.
that doesn't matter. I think the thing is there's 4 teams and they're going to need 5 players. So there's 20 players that they need to pull
Right.
across 8 teams, right?
Right.
So I think each team is going to lose like an average of like 2.5 players.
Right. But at a max of 4, I believe
This-
that's what the rules have said, that the max of
Yeah.
4. But so the interesting thing is through the entire process, it says a max of 4. And yet each team is supposed to end up with 10 players before the draft. And that doesn't math to me because 8 times 4 is 32. I'm not good at math, but I do know that. And 4 times 10 is
well, they're
40.
going to pick up more players and they're going to pick up more players in phase 3.
Because they can sign
expansions.
free agents in phase 3. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they can do all kinds of stuff, but we'll have
Okay.
more protection before they get to
We'll
do
have
that.
3 more protection slots in phase 3.
Yeah, but in this initial phase, I think there's 2 things. One is that there's those FPOs where you have those bonuses to attract free agents. We do have a whole bunch of free agents on the Torrent
Yep.
that are
Long list.
yeah, that are gettable in that phase, like Terralova and other favorites of mine. And then, of course, the players that are under contract but unprotected can just be offered raises. And where you really need to be worried about that is if you have kind of a very underpaid player. And you might wonder, like,
of which we have many.
And here's the thing: you may have you may think like, oh, these players don't have to. These players currently under contract, they don't have to agree to go. They can be like, Torrent till I die. But that's going to be a bit tricky because I think as the phase 2 deadline gets close, as it looms, and the threat of that automatic draft process kicking in, if the teams don't sign enough players, these players are going to be thinking, well, not enough people have signed. I better sign so I can at least decide where I'm going to go, right? As opposed to getting into this draft scenario. Yeah. That's the real hammer. That's kind of the nuclear bomb at the end of this phase. That's kind of, I think, going to give players a kick in the butt, especially as that deadline gets closer. And they're like, I should shit. If I'm just going to get picked in a draft, I may as well, pick which of these 4 cities I really want to go to.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
It's been a great conversation.
No, it's been really good. I just want to prepare people because we will record another episode for Monday morning. We're going to probably do it as late as we can in the day on Sunday, just so that we can make sure we have as much information at that point as we can. But the deadline for phase 2 ending is Monday, and I think it's noon. Isn't it noon? Yeah. Noon Eastern time on Monday. So there's probably going to be some last minute things that we will not get. We probably will do a midweek episode again next week because there's just going to be so much stuff coming.
I'll keep the time again.
Yeah. We'll have Patti time us. She's so funny.
And if we made any mistakes, there's a lot of moving parts in this. If we made any please.
We've made mistakes.
Oh yeah, and they, but Brian, you'll correct. You'll get in the comments tomorrow and correct us. I know you will. So, I'm going to do a double last word tonight. Brian, do you have any last words to share?
No, we gotta go fast. We gotta get out of here.
Fast? Is that your last word, Brian?
Yeah, not Renata fast, but like just actually fast.
Okay, Patti, what's your last word?
My last word's time. Thanks for taking this time with us, Brian. Thanks for spending your midweek time with us, everyone. My last word is time.
Yeah. So there's a lot of moving parts, like Brian said. We may have gotten something wrong. Things may change. That's the other thing, is we're not even sure. Like, things may change, and it's all very fast moving at this point. So pay attention. We'll put stuff out on social media as we find it out. And like I said, we'll have another episode coming out Monday morning that will catch up with everything that's happened over the weekend. That's all we got. Bye-bye. And that's the show. Tune in next time for another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.